Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to The Edward. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video, I'll be doing my episode review and reaction to the Scream Season 2 finale, which aired earlier tonight on MTV. Now, please be warned, this is a biggie. With all shows, especially shows like Scream, please be warned this will be full of big spoilers. In tonight's episode, the killer was revealed. I'm not going to say who it was because I'm not done giving you my spoiler warning, but please be warned that the killer was revealed. So if you haven't seen this episode yet, if you're not caught up on Scream by one or two episodes or by this season finale, tread lightly when going online because spoilers will be out there. They will be abundant. So good luck avoiding spoilers. Get caught up as soon as you can. And once you are caught up, come on back and give this video a listen or a watch because we got a lot to talk about. So once again, the killer is revealed. Final spoiler warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I don't want to sound cocky, but I called it. I mean, you guys remember from the past couple videos, at least the last one, I predicted it was going to be Kieran. It's just that it would have been way too obvious if it was Stavo or Eli, because A, Eli might have been creepy, but he wasn't a psychopath. B, Stavo is just an emotionally disturbed, tortured artist type who unfortunately was drawing a lot of graphic, bloody drawings during this horrific killing rampage this season. But it would have been way too obvious if it had turned out to be one of them. And I'm a little disappointed with myself as to, I guessed correctly it was going to be Kieran, but I should have known why, his reason as to why. And of course, he explains his reason why when he has that slip of the tongue and he says the thing that the killer said to Emma earlier on the phone about, you'll never feel safe again. And he says something like, you'll be safe, I promise you'll feel safe after this. It's like, okay, they're the only people in the hospital. How could he have possibly known she was going to be there? And then he claims that he had some kind of tracking pin thing on Noah's phone that he had on him because Emma gave Noah's phone to him. And then it was also during the theater scene where it's like, okay, he claims he's going to go off and check on Audrey. And then that's when Brooke and Noah are left alone. Brooke is attacked. And for a second there, I thought he had killed her, but he only stabbed her badly. And then the killer is scared off when Emma shoots at him. He disappears. Noah and Emma go to Brooke. She's bleeding. And then Kieran suddenly pops back in like, where were you during all of the madness all of a sudden? And then Audrey is mysteriously disappearing. How about that? And I thought, damn it, they are going to do it. He is going to be Kieran revealed as the killer. And getting back to his reasons why. Turns out he and Piper were a thing. It turns out they were a thing well before he met Emma. I guess Kieran sympathized with Piper the feeling of abandonment or neglectful of the feeling neglected by a parent because Piper was given up by her real birth mom, which is Emma's mom, and that was one of her main reasons for wanting to hurt and get revenge on Emma last season because she resented her for the life that she felt was rightfully hers. Well, as it turns out, she had an accomplice from season 1, and now that accomplice had been our main killer this season. It was Kieran. He is the boyfriend or was the lover of Piper, and he did all of this because Emma and Audrey killed his beloved Piper last season. He pretended to be Audrey's. He pretended to care about Emma. He got involved with her, and he put up one hell of an act because for a while there I thought, yeah, he may or may not be the killer. He probably isn't, but he may not be the killer. Should have seen it coming. They played the same card that they played in the original Scream film from 1996, where the killer turned out to be, spoiler alert, Billy, Sydney's boyfriend. It turned out to be him, and basically the reveal that Kieran being the killer was extremely reminiscent of the scene in the first Scream film where Sidney realizes that Billy and his friend Stu were the murderers all along. So I really enjoyed that. It felt very, very nostalgic from the first Scream movie when Kieran is revealed to be the killer. I was a little disappointed and it felt very, very predictable. However, I guess it could have been worse. They could have made it a bit more, they could have made it way more obvious. I mean, it felt kind of obvious, but not that obvious. But I guess what confused me was his reason as to why. But then, it became clear, okay, he was in love with Piper, they were in an item. But what was confusing to me is how they even met in the first place, because it sounded like his dad dumped him in Atlanta with his mother and stepfather. So how in the hell did he end up meeting Piper in the first place? Because they didn't attend the same school or the orphanage together, because it was an orphanage for girls. So how did they meet each other? That's what I'm curious about. He didn't really exactly explain how they actually met, because he said he told Emma they were together way before season 1 happened. So how did they meet exactly? He didn't really elaborate on that. Did anybody else catch that? I must have missed it, but it feels like he didn't explain how they met. They probably fell in love because of they were sympathetic towards one another. Kieran feeling dumped by his father, being left in Atlanta with his mom and stepdad, and then Piper feeling abandoned by her birth mom, and she felt in her mind that Emma was better than her in some sense because her birth mother preferred her over Piper. So I understand their reasoning. It just wasn't clear as to how they met, but obviously they did meet. And what was quite revealing is that you realize that Kieran had a lot of blood on his hands. He did his fair share of killing in season 1, and he did all of the killing for this season. And boy, what a sadistic son of a bitch, because in the theater, he compiled all of that footage together when the movie projector starts running of all of the murders that he filmed of himself killing everybody, from Jake to Zoe to the mayor to everybody, to Branson to the hotel clerk. Everybody who died this season, he filmed himself killing them, and he just did that to hurt, like he did it to hurt Audrey. Because it was footage from season 1 as well, because we saw several characters from season 1 being killed, and then we saw characters who died this season, and you could tell based on the way Noah and Brooke were especially reacting when they saw their beloved excuse me. Excuse me. Even they saw their former beloved ones being murdered, how they both turned away from the screen and, closed their eyes and their ears. It's like, God, what a sadistic son of a bitch. He's just rubbing it in these people's face of how he's taken the ones that they loved from him. And they also didn't explain why Holly briefly helped him, because we saw the scene where Holly was about to make out or go down on the killer, and then he kills her. It didn't really explain why. He didn't explain how Holly's involvement took place during his plans. Like, did he seduce her temporarily and get her to help him throw together the party where he ended up killing her in the end or something like that? See, this episode answered a lot of questions, but it also introduced us to a lot of new ones. Probably the biggest one is who is on the other end of that phone with Kieran. People are already saying it's Brandon James. Like, Brandon James is not actually dead. He's alive and out there somewhere, and he's been perhaps watching from afar. Because the final line of the episode of this season is, "Who told you you could wear my mask?" or "You thought you could wear my mask?" And that sounds like something Brandon James would say, since the mask is his surgical mask that he had years and years ago. So, as predictable as it was that it was Kieran who was the killer, I guess they did a pretty good job for the most part revealing it was him, but they should have done a better job explaining how he and Piper met, how Holly, the girl he ended up killing at the party, fit into everything. Was she a temporary accomplice or some shit like that? There were a lot of questions were left, and a lot of questions were also answered as well. Obviously, we know who the killer is. And I felt like during this whole episode, I'm like, okay, every time he disappears off screen, I'm going to see if something happens. And sure enough, when he said, "I'm going to go find Audrey, I'm going to go watch the back door," or something like that, the killer would suddenly appear. Coincidence? Convenient? And, he played our characters well. He manipulated everybody from season one, especially poor Emma. I don't know if Emma's ever going to be able to trust any guy ever again. I mean, she can trust her friends, like her actual close friends. I don't know if she's ever going to be able to trust another man again, or at least a significant other, because her past couple boyfriends have both been pretty shitty. Let's be honest. And we also got an answer as to who knocked out Piper in season one when she and Jake, was it Will or was it Jake? One of those two went to with Piper somewhere. The killer assaulted one of them, attacked Piper, knocked her out, and then kidnapped. I think it was Will. Yeah, it was Will, because later Will died in that episode. So it was Kieran who knocked out Piper, not killing her obviously, but then kidnapped Will, and ended up killing him violently, brutally. I mean, man, the guy, he was a true sociopath. He really put on a nice, friendly face. I'm the calm, sexy, hot guy. You don't have anything to worry about when it comes to me. And then he starts to crack, and he's like, yes, I'm the killer. I've been the killer all along. And, it was just, and then also what I liked about this episode was like, as soon as, here's what really tipped me off to when I thought, okay, yep, they're going to reveal it's Kieran. When he and Eli began accusing each other of being the murderer, that is exactly how it happened before it was revealed. It was Billy and Stu in the original movie, because Jamie Kennedy's character, Randy, and Stu start accusing each other of being the killer and killing everybody, and Sydney doesn't know which one to believe, locks them both out of the house. Then we find out it's Billy and Stu. Randy was innocent. And in this case, in the episode, Eli claims that he followed everybody to the hospital. He followed Kieran, and then Kieran stabbed him. Kieran denies that. And then they start doing, literally, they're pointing at each other, going back and forth, saying, he said it, he said it. And, of course, it's revealed that it was Kieran, because, that's how it unfolded. So, good episode. It could have been a bit better, I think. At least it could have been better, more shocking reveal that it was Kieran. I thought it was interesting how it wasn't like last year where the killer is wearing their costume and then they rip off their mask to reveal, surprise, it's me. That's what they did with Piper last season. This episode, no, the killer was not in costume. It was Kieran. And then what a lot of people are already praising this episode for is that our final girl, Emma, did not defeat the big nasty bad guy, and she actually allowed him to live because she wants him to actually really suffer, because Emma's smart enough to realize that he would have been gotten off a lot easier if she had just shot him point blank range right in the head like she wanted to. But she decided the only way to really make him suffer and truly punish him is to allow him to live and rot in prison. Now, this does leave the possibility open that he could return in season 3. Quite frankly, we don't know if there's going to be a season 3 yet. It hasn't been renewed yet. It took a while to find out if season 2 was coming or not. But season 3 very well could return to MTV next summer. It's just a matter of them announcing it or confirming it. Obviously, most of our main characters are alive and well, with the exception of poor Eli, of course. And it was just way too obvious that it wasn't him and it wasn't Stavo. They were just too creepy to make it way too obvious. Kieran seemed like the most likely suspect, and obviously that's who it turned out to be. Overall, good episode. Could have been a bit better, and they could have done a better job explaining some of Kieran's connections to Piper and then Holly, the girl he murdered at the party. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode review and reaction video. What are your overall thoughts on Scream Season 2? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were parts of it predictable? Did you know it was Kieran? Did you think it was going to be somebody else? Are you glad some characters outlived others? Please leave your thoughts, opinions, and your feedback down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear from everybody. As usual, let's please keep it respectful and be civil of one another's beliefs and opinions, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos and content and more episode reviews like this one. Check out my Facebook page in the description down below. I think you'll like what you see. Thank you so much for joining me as we watch this season of Scream. I hope we get a season 3, and I will let you guys know as soon as we get an official announcement or confirmation that it is indeed happening. All right, guys, have a great rest of the night. Thank you again so much for stopping by and watching. And of course, until next time, what's your favorite scary movie?